never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be.
Alright, hi guys, in this one we are going to be covering that second aspect of the first bullet point that I told you about. This one is going to kind of share more insight as towards recession recovery and major hiccups and snags that we went through. And in this one we're going to throw in aspects that are linked towards job scams, money laundering schemes, and shell companies. Now, because I've seen my other video covering job scams and my info that I provided towards you guys from job scams that I had personally gone through, fake emails that I'd gotten, and fake companies that are on platforms such as Indeed and ZipRecruiter. I popped up on Indeed yesterday and actually had this thing pop up on top where it was like, be on the lookout for freaking fake companies and report them. And I was like, that's freaking great, because I literally just got this job offer through my email from this company that seemed completely freaking legit. And I literally popped in for a freaking seminar, and then I booked an interview with this other member. I believe was the assistant of the person who conducted the interview, and everything seemed great throughout the entire interview. We had freaking, from what they explained, our goals aligned. They were looking for somebody who, who owns a business and has experience in running a business, who would like to partner with them and open up their own branch of the current business, and to kind of, work towards the sales aspect and recruiting. And in the midst of it, the interviewer constantly referenced towards, it's great and I'm loving that you're extremely eager. I'm loving that our reading goals align. But in case you want to wait a few months and, take some time to yourself and then, ponder upon it, we'll still be ready. And I was like, no, I've literally told you, I'm extremely eager. Our values align, and I have what's necessary to freaking start this, and I would love to freaking work with you guys and do the freaking partnership. And by the end of it, we were it ended on what seemed as so great terms, and then they were like, okay, we'll get back to you in 48 hours with our freaking final decision. Everything seems great. Have a freaking great day, and we'll chat with you later. And I was like, oh my gosh, alright, well, great job. I'm loving this. I'm super excited. I typically, don't freaking venture out to literally entertain stuff like this because there are so many scams out there. And then I get the email literally 48 freaking hours later, and I was like, just after I told Gramps, I was like, the interview freaking went great. It's freaking perfect. I have literally everything that they're looking for in a potential candidate, and they have aspects that I'm looking for in a company to partner with. And then they were like, based off of the eligibility criteria. And then during the interview also, she noted that she was like, I looked over your resume, and there was only one job listed on there. And I was like, I've never drafted drafted a resume in my life that only had one job freaking listed on there. And so I was really shocked about that aspect. So I was like, that's a bit weird. So when I ended up touching base back with them, I sent over an email to the freaking to multiple corporate team members. And I was like, is there a way to get a redetermination freaking interview? I don't quite get how the vibe and the message was sent to be as a moving forward type of thing, and then the final aspect was like a not moving forward thing. So then in examining the company's website, they didn't have like company email. They only had like a phone number listed. And then when I looked to like see if there were like any like other types of contact methods, and I did like Google searches, it was like very obvious that like the only freaking people that actually work for the company work for it as like their literal, like how they attempted to recruit me as like a business owner who would just take on the company name and then recruit people to join the company under the company name and then to launch their own branch of it and then sell products with it. And I was like, okay, it seems like, you know, I do sales, so I was like, all right, that seemed like, you know, something freaking interesting and feasible. So it's something that's freaking like doable. I do get the sales aspect, but as being a business owner, as I've told you guys in other videos, there are like those red flags where I'm like, you know, if you guys are doing sales, and I asked a lot during the interview, I was like, so you're asking me to like, you know, come into a recruiting position, but so you're also stating that you want me to freaking recruit people, to place out job ads and freaking bring in people, interview them, and then recruit them. But now during our interview portion, you're also mentioning that you want sales to be made also, and I read through like their entire freaking company overview and freaking like the aspects pertaining towards the job, and there was no reference towards, you know, being a salesperson. So I was a bit shocked about that. So I was like, that's another red flag. Like, so you're telling me now that you not only, it's not just a recruiter position, so there aren't other positions where you're like, you know, because I was expecting it to be one of those positions where you're coming in as a recruiter and then you're like, you know, recruiting people for a position below the recruiter's position to kind of either work within your branch, or you're bringing in people to work within the same level and to start recruiting for their own team. And it wasn't that. It was like literally just like, I guess you interview people and try to get them to join the team and then to start their own branch and then to try to get other people to join the team and then push sales for this like company that like literally had like no overview of what they were selling. So I was like really freaking shocked. I was like, I don't really get what you guys are selling. I examined your website and there's no freaking aspect covering, you know, how to contact people that aren't other recruiters within your company branch. And then I was like, with the reference towards the resume, I don't know where you guys like found my freaking email to contact me, but I know my email is like, it's listed on like Google, it's been leaked a few times, and I was like, I'm guessing you're just another like company that like found my freaking contact info and just sent me like this spam thing, because I was like, I also don't remember freaking, you know, checking this out and subscribing to receive these emails from you guys. So it's like, it just seems like it's a scam overall. So I told my grams about it, and I was like, it seems like it was another freaking sketchy scam thing. But I did reach out to them and I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I was like, as a business owner, I will verify to you that I do actually own a business. It has been in operation for years. I do have subsidiary branches. I do have credentials. This is my up-to-date resume, since you stated that the one that you had on file was apparently outdated and only had one job listed. This is my actual resume and it's up to date. This is and all the other aspects, and I kind of like left it up to them to kind of like get back to me on that. They still haven't gotten back to me yet, you guys, so just be wary of companies that seem legit, that have these freaking really awesome looking websites that, you know, just seem legit but lack the necessary information, that lack that contact freaking like way of freaking like, you know, getting in touch with somebody. There should always be a company email. There should also always be other branches, other forms of contact with them. You should be able to contact them through the website, through email. There should be a phone number listed. There should be, let's see, because I'm like thinking in reference towards my site, and I don't want to mention anything that I don't have on my site also for the major references, but referencing towards my site will also helps with, you know, the aspects of what you should look for. It should just be legit. You should be able to freaking do research into these companies, and they should have nothing but freaking positive feedback stating that they are legit. You shouldn't have to Google companies and then see results in the beginning that are telling you that people were like weary of it being a scam, and like basically this is it a scam or is it legit? If it's falling within that category, that's the instant red flag for companies such as mine and every other freaking actual company throughout our nation. There are no red flags where you're wondering if it's legit or not. It should be legit or it's just a scam. Alright, you guys, cover the rest. Alright, so as I've stated, in coming out of the major recession of the 2020s, our major point where we felt as though we were really recovering was during the time period in which COVID was denounced as a handled pandemic, in which people were able to actually go out without a mask on again and to kind of function as though we always had. And overall, it was a freaking major freaking moment in my life where I was like, oh my freaking gosh, that was like one of the craziest things to freaking go through. I hated wearing the mask. I felt like a freaking like a dog wearing a muzzle with that freaking thing on, and then like, you know, trying to breathe through the freaking mask, and then the freaking restrictions that got placed on things. I've released a neck gaiter for, you know, assessing people that, you know, wanted a way to kind of cover their face that was more conducive with breathing. And I would say within like maybe a year and a half of it being launched, that became something that was no longer accepted in a lot of places outside of, you know, I would say local areas. So if you were going on like a plane or so and they required a face mask, you had to literally have a face mask. But in like day-to-day life aspects, such as, you know, going to work or public transportation and stuff like that, or, you know, going to shopping, going shopping and other major aspects such as that, and the day-to-day life aspect, you could wear something as that. So I really wanted that item to be utilized because it was one of my like go-to freaking lifesavers. Number one, it was one of those items that I launched because I loved how it was something that was supposed to be versatile and used for everything. I think I used mine for like nearly freaking everything. After the pandemic, I freaking kept it in my bag as like, you know, a backup freaking hair tie. It could be used as like a hair tie, a headband, a scarf, or a face mask. And I literally use it for like all of those. At times when I literally don't have any tissue or napkins in my bag, it's great for my freaking super freaking overly active mucus, like my freaking sinuses are always freaking on the fritz. Like I have a hyperactive immune system, so it's always freaking like, you know, was there like pollen, was there dust in the air, and then my nose goes into like super protective mode, and then my throat goes into like freaking overprotective mucus production mode, which is one of the coolest aspects ever. And I always tell people, I'm like, you know, don't mind me, but if I don't talk for like a brief bit, my body starts producing a bunch of mucus. So if I literally don't talk for like, I would say like 10 minutes or so, and then I attempt to speak after, I have to clear my throat to freaking clear the mucus buildup, and it's like the freaking weirdest thing ever. So I always warn people, I'm like, I have an overly active immune system, so don't freaking mind if I have to literally clear my freaking sinuses. I have to literally, if my nose starts getting freaking like clogged, like freaking runny, it won't even have to be in something in notion to the freaking like temperatures, which freaking, it's always a freaking major reaction point. But then you guys said, with me being from California and then moving to places such as Chicago and New York after, I learned very early on that my tear ducts freaking just like go into like overdrive in like cold weather. Like even if there's like cold air like going towards me, my eyes will still begin to water. My freaking sinuses are like freaking super sinus mode, which I feel like most of us typically go through. And then again, my freaking throat typically goes into that the mucus production mode. So my freaking, it's like a butt kicker. It's like the freaking typical freaking nose sinus thing, and then it's like the throat, and then the eye leakage that freaking like, it gets me every freaking time. they're all great and great like aspects overall. Like I think my major thing is I always wear like sunglasses when I freaking ride my e-scooter, because if any cold air gets into my freaking eyes, my eyes will literally water, and then I'm literally just like riding my freaking scooter, and it only goes like 15 freaking miles per hour at the max, so I'm like literally just riding down the freaking street in my freaking scooter, or should I say on my scooter, with my freaking eyes watering down as though I'm crying, and I'm like, I literally can't have that. I literally look as though I'm in like a sad freaking portion of a movie where I've literally just gotten some freaking hard news, and I'm literally just like, oh my gosh, I still gotta go do the next thing, and like like tears are flowing. It's funny in itself, but it's one of those things that I always try to like explain to people. They're like, are you crying? Like, what's going on? I'm like, no, my eyes just like do this whenever I'm in like a cold freaking weather environment. Are you feeling sick? No, my mucus production system is like in freaking overprotective mode, so I literally have like that freaking layer lining the top of my freaking throat to like make sure that any pathogens that may be in the air are instantly caught, which helps a lot when I'm in environments like when working in early childhood. I've gone through a lot of moments where it's freaking helped me freaking note that there's something in the air very quickly. Like if there's like a sick kid in the room and then they cough, a lot of us don't freaking expect that, it's gonna get us later. Once it freaking hits that mucous membrane in my freaking throat, and I instantly feel this tickle feeling, and then I'm able to clear it from my throat. If I let it sit for too long, I typically get hit with the freaking sickness, but if I'm able to clear it in time, I'm typically fine, which is one of those things that made me note that it wasn't just, my throat being overly freaking mucus at random periods. It was literally like my freaking immune system going, this will protect you from pathogens within the air. But in the reference towards the major recession points, again, you guys, look out for job scams. That's one of the major things that it's kind of really stifling a lot of people, because when you go out and apply for jobs, you've got to, number one, not only worry about employers that are literally, discriminating, that are going to literally only look for candidates that they, for a lot of positions, I've noted that a lot of them, they literally have their candidates that they want in-house already, and then they do the job postings on public sites and then say that they can't hire anybody for the position, but in most cases it's typically, the position's already filled, and it's typically filled by somebody that's already in-house. That I'm going to add within the category of scams also, because it's like there's a scam job listings where it's not actually a job offer. It's also a scam to post a listing when you're planning to hire somebody in-house for the job. And then just the overall freaking scam frenzies that you can find all throughout various platforms that kind of stifle people from getting past the point of unemployment, from getting out of that recession point. And then it also hinders people, and it messes with their minds also. It causes that state of depression. It causes that recession point to turn into a depression when we have people that are going through these hardship freaking points on top of the economic hardship in itself. And then there was the money laundering schemes and shell companies phases. Now for money laundering, it's creating a fake company that you literally have these set teams. It's kind of like, a gang opening up a freaking let's see, if you guys have ever seen Shane Dawson and have checked out any of his old conspiracy videos, I used to love them when I was freaking in high school. They were one of his major things that he used to drop all the time. As I've gotten older, he freaking ended up launching a separate series where he does freaking conspiracy theories, but it's it's an occasional thing now. But back then, it had great information. Okay guys, my phone is literally on 20%, so my battery warning popped up. But yeah, he covered a great bit of information towards things such as, and one of the major conspiracies pertain towards companies such as mattress firms that were opening up, and then people were do they ever actually make any sales? Like, and then for a lot of them, they were like, people never go in there, but the stores are still freaking open, and the major freaking thought was, are they laundering money through the business? And people do this. They actually launch businesses, and instead of actually doing the business work that you expect them to do, they literally launder funds through the business and write them off as a tax break. So always be mindful and wary of those aspects also. Alright, you guys. And also be cautious of shell companies. Shell companies are those companies that literally kind of like are close to the same parameter. Do a tad bit of research, though, you guys. I don't want to create another small one for part 3. Love you guys. I'll talk to you later.